have unraveled, before the third quarter. Like, how important is it for you to establish something early, and where do you kind of want to see that disruption on defense stem from?
I mean, all 48 minutes matter, so we want to start fast, punch first every night. Some nights you do, some nights you don't. But if you get off to a good start, you still got to play the 48. If you don't get off to a good start, you still got to play the 48. Minnesota did that the other night. That's obviously why they won the way they did. But for our purposes, we're trying to be the better team for 48 minutes tonight. That's our focus.
Mark, you went to J. Will in Game 3 after he didn't play in 1 and 2. Just talk us through that decision. What were you looking for in those minutes?
When the game's going like that, I'm a believer in introducing other guys to the game. I wasn't planning on that, but he's such a competitor that I thought he could give us a little bit of juice. Same with AJ. Isaiah Joe out of halftime. I'm a big believer in when the game's not going the way you want it to go, being aggressive and being assertive, not just waiting back, especially with a team like this. You never know when you can find something in those situations. And so even a game like that obviously at a certain point we weren't going to win, there is something to learn. It's a series, and we play Minnesota again tonight. So try to see if there's any kind of spark that we can ignite in those situations. And so that's all that was.
Coach, in a series like this, where you may introduce someone that maybe is not accustomed to getting, consistent minutes, is it better to just kind of go into the game knowing that they're prepared for that, or is that something that you can kind of prepare them for before the fact?
If I know I'm going to do it, I'll tell them before the fact, but we try to create an environment and a culture of readiness. And part of the way that you do that is by throwing guys in the game. It's one thing to say, hey, you got to stay ready. It's quite another to put your money where your mouth is and throw guys out there and give guys opportunities, especially, like I said, if the game's not going the way that we want it to. We try to shake things up and try to see if we can ignite something. Obviously, we weren't able to do that the other night, but I think that sets a healthy tone for the team. And the more you do that and the more the players see that, even if it's not their number getting called, I think it gets their attention, and it reminds them that at any moment you could be called upon. And they've done a great job of that. Usually when we do that, we get a pretty good lift from it.
Mark, on the flip side to that, when the opponent does something like that, like Terrence Shannon Jr. getting minutes, what's the domino effect that occurs with you and your coaching staff? Are you reevaluating lineups and game plan at halftime if he goes in the second quarter? Certainly in between games, there's time to discuss it, but like in real time, what's it like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an example on the other side of them doing that. I mean, he gave them a great lift the other night, and is probably a fixture in the series at this point because of that. But yeah, I mean, it sometimes changes the complexion of the game. He's a wing player, and so it doesn't really change how they play. It's a little more impactful when a team does that and they're like going small or they're going big, and that forces you to adjust a little bit more. But you're constantly dancing with the game. Sometimes you're asserting those sorts of tactics with lineups, and sometimes you're reacting to them, and neither is right or wrong. But yeah, we got to be ready if they throw something at us that we're not expecting.
Well, the smaller instances, of course, like when Zeta and Julius Randle like shove each other, trying to establish position. Like obviously something like that maybe is called in the regular season, but probably isn't called on this stage. Like how much are you sort of tracking that? Is that looped into what you're telling the guys about force and inserting themselves?
We need to focus on what we can control, and we can't control the opponent, can't control the officiating. We can adjust to the officiating. As long as it's consistent, we'll adjust to it, and we'll play inside the boundaries of it. The other night, the officiating was consistent. That had nothing to do with the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game was a byproduct of Minnesota outplaying us. So we try to be a team that's ruthless about controlling what we can, staying focused on ourselves, playing to our standard, and really not getting distracted by anything outside of that. And this team's done a great job of that, over time. And I think that's part of why we have done a good job over time is we look in the mirror, we take responsibility. We're not pointing fingers. We're not looking externally to justify our success or our adversities.
Anybody else?
All right. Thank you. Yep.